Thank you everyone for joining. We got over 200 people who signed up for the event. So it's, again, a good number. Thank you everyone. So
Okay.
today we're doing something different.
Yes, so today there's no demo. We are actually bringing experts to talk about their predictions for 2026, what will happen in the HR tech and the expectations. And we would like to start today by saying there has been quite a lot of YouTube videos and maybe LinkedIn posts saying AI is a bubble and this bubble is going to burst. So we created a poll just to see, do you actually think it's a bubble and is it going to burst in 2026, or you think no, it's not? So if you go to the poll section right now, you'll find it, and we are very interested to hear what you think. What do you think, Alex?
Man, such a hard topic. It's almost a prediction, right? Don't wanna steal the spotlight from of the other experts we have in the queue. I think we see some signs of exhaustion. That's kind of how I feel it. I don't know if you listened to the last interview from Ilya, the architect behind ChatGPT. I think this was quite eye-opening, right? The way he discusses the current issues. So he essentially said that he's out of LLMs, right? He said that he's not gonna do anything on scaling anymore. He goes back into research. For me, that's kind of a clear indication that it's over, right? At this stage, What about you? What do you think?
I think that there is a bit of separation between the bubble and from economic perspective, like all the billions being burned right now on AI versus the actual implementation and the actual usage of it. I think there are some legit use cases of AI which can transform many industries, and especially the HR tech where we're talking about, but the economic value is quite amplified right now. So I think this is what's going to be determined by next year. Are we going to see a shift in value by using AI, or is just going to be the current trappers and prompt engineering and maybe even basic AI agents to deliver specific values? So I think that would be probably the distinction.
Yeah, I think this was the last sentence from Ilya. He was like, we cannot believe that this product, feels so revolutionary. And then at the same time, the economical impact is so low. It doesn't check out. It reminds me so much about the crypto days, because I've been in the crypto space for so long. It just feels exactly the same way, to be honest. Right. So who's the first person we're going to get in? Who's going to join the stage? What do you think, Horace? Do you have an idea who we are inviting?
We are inviting Radu.
Radu, right?
Yeah. So Radu is going to talk about the SEO. We will let him introduce himself and talking about everything SEO, job board, AI optimization for search. And I'm very excited to hear his perspective.
Okay. Then let's invite him to the stage. There he is.
Alex,
Radu.
hi, Horace. How are you?
Thank you for joining. Where are you dialing in from today?
South of London, near Guildford.
So Horace and I, do you guys go for whiskey or afternoon tea together? You live close by? Sounds like it.
Yeah, I mean, London is a huge city and I live outside, so I don't consider myself a Londoner. But definitely next time I'm in London, I'll send you a message. Or
definitely.
Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone. So I'm Radu. I'm the technical director at Enhance Media. We are a digital marketing agency specializing in online recruitment. We're helping employers and job boards attract candidates from search engines, Google for Jobs, but we offer a complete range of services from building career sites to running paid marketing campaigns to the recent AI audit product that we developed, helping employers understand what AI is saying about their employer brand and what is their visibility in AI.
It's really really great to have you because you don't do a lot of talking events in the HR tech space, right? I mean, you do SEO Brighton, I think.
Yes, I've done Brighton SEO and I joined the webinar a long time ago in the US. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. I don't really do that much public speaking. So I joined the Job Boards and Recruitment podcast with Stephen Rothberg last year, I think.
Oh, we are really excited to have you because you are one of the very few people that I read on LinkedIn all the time.
Thank you.
When it comes to Google Jobs, you're posting some amazing gems. I love your writing. It's very interesting.
Yeah, thank you. I've been implementing job schema since, 2013, ever since I joined Enhance Media 13 years ago. And that was before Google for Jobs. It was part of the normal SEO optimization that we were doing. So I'm very familiar with this and I've been there since the beginning. since Google for Jobs was launched, and I've seen how it evolved into a job aggregator in a way, but also how now, because of the antitrust lawsuits and so on, it's been scaled down a bit as a fancy search feature instead of a separate job board.
Yeah, nice. All right, then should we go into the predictions?
Yes, please. I'm really excited about that. So what do
All
you
right.
think will happen with Google for Jobs in 2026?
I think Google for Jobs will continue to be an important attraction channel for job boards and employers. And I think it will be integrated into Google's AI offering. So I think in 2026, Google, the AI search will become a default interface from Google. And Google will integrate everything that different AI features that is doing right now, AI mode, Gemini, and so on. It will integrate all of them into one generative user interface search, which will also include Google for Jobs. And will also, I think Google will also offer job matching based on CV uploads because of this in 2026.
Oh, wow, you really think they'll do the CV upload thing?
Yes. So, I mean, it is possible to do it now. So if you go to use Google AI mode, you can upload PDFs. And if you upload your CV as a PDF and you ask Google to find you jobs that match your CV, it will try to do that. It's really basic, and sometimes you cannot really click on the links. They don't provide you with links at the moment and so on. But I do feel because the functionality is there and because there's going to be another important thing in 2026, which is OpenAI announced a jobs platform. And I think this is going to be the main driver why Google is going to offer something similar, a job matching solution based on your CV, because definitely ChatGPT is going to offer something like that.
Interesting. And like, what do you think job boards should focus on in order to get into that? Do you think it will be the same job schema that is available right now, or Google might start adding maybe like more properties? Because the schema itself for the job has a lot more properties than what Google is using right now. So do you think they will start introducing more in order to improve the matching?
Yes, I think job skills. So the skills schema item is going to be introduced because that's a crucial element when you're trying to do job matching. So Google has everything right now. It has the job title. It introduced the education experience. Well, no, education degree and experience requirements as well. And I think in order to help with job matching, it might introduce skills as well, which is a separate schema element within job posting schema.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, there is job posting schema that Google supports, and then there is the schema.org job posting schema, which is way more extensive, right? And has a lot of properties, just so that we are sure that all the folks know this. Interesting.
I think the most important thing is the fact that the entire interface of the existing search results page in Google, I believe is going to change entirely. It's going to be generated by AI, and it's going to be it's not going to be 100% based on the keyword that the user types. It's going to be based on Google using AI to try to understand intent behind that keyword and to try to identify intent and to identify what the users might want to know in addition to that keyword. Like if they search for jobs, they might want to know how competitive the job market is, how many employers are actively hiring for that job, and so on. And Google will carry out separate searches based on that, and it will then construct a page that will pretty much still include Google for Jobs, and it will still include some links and so on, but it will be part of its generative UI, like text that is generated by AI, like an overview and so on. And I think it's going to be similar to what you see now if you go to Bing, for example, how they integrated Copilot into their search resource page.
Yeah, Bing also has a jobs product, right?
Yes, and it's actually the jobs product, Bing Jobs, is better integrated within Bing Search, in my opinion, than Google for Jobs is integrated within Google. If you go now to Bing and you search for jobs and so on, you'll see that a Copilot is summarizing everything that is available in Bing Jobs by job title, seniority, actively hiring employers, and so on. So I think because of that, I think Google might actually do something similar.
Like a question here, because like we always talk about Google for Jobs and how to optimize for it. But do you think there is like other aspects where job boards can start getting traffic organically, but not from jobs? Like I'm here talking about like the AI question answering. So whether in AI mode in Google or Perplexity or ChatGPT, is there anything job boards can do in certain categories of the job board itself in order to start attracting more organic traffic?
Yeah, so what I said earlier about how AI platforms actually break down a query into multiple synthetic keywords, that's pretty much how all AI platforms work when they ground their answers into search results. And I think that's crucial to understand for job boards and for employers because they are similar techniques. And it's crucial to understand in order to optimize for it because I believe that the key aspect that job boards should do, for example, is to upgrade the category pages to become career hub pages. And the difference is a job category page at the moment lists all the jobs available and it has everything. It's optimized for SEO, title tags, and so on. But sometimes it has maybe one or two paragraphs of copy above or below the job listings on that page. But a career hub page would contain so much more. It would contain information about the live employers hiring right now, how many jobs they have, what are the industries in which they hire, and so on. It will include something about the salary for that particular role or whatever that category page is about. It will include FAQs, maybe about career progression if it's an entry level role, because that's what candidates want to know when they search for a job. So that's extremely important. It's quite a really useful concept to think about career hub pages. So upgrading a job category page to a career hub page, because this will also increase the likelihood of the same category page being discovered by multiple search queries that AI is going to perform. And if AI then sees that first of all, it increases the likelihood of you being mentioned in AI's answers, but it also increases the visibility and the ranking within AI answers. Because if you're cited multiple times, again, this is a correlation I've seen. No one knows for sure how this thing works, but this is a correlation I've seen. Like if a particular page is included multiple times in the search results grounding that AI is doing for different keywords, then that page will be referenced at the top.
That's a great advice. I've been telling this to customers, that building rich employer pages and category pages is kind of the future, and then switching to this kind of career type areas that are going to collect all the informational keywords, right? That's a great advice. Like so much knowledge dropping. That was amazing. Tell us, so where can people talk to you? Like where can they find you besides LinkedIn? Do you have a blog or a website or something you want to share with folks?
I haven't started anything yet, so they can find me on LinkedIn. Also, they can reach out to us via our Enhanced Media website. They can find more information about the services we're offering. But yeah, at the moment, I'm posting articles on LinkedIn and I haven't yet developed a blog or anything like that.
Let's give Radu a follow. He's amazing. He writes
Thank
really
you.
cool stuff. Radu, thank you very much.
Thank you. See you later.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Radu.
See you. So, Horace, do we get some other guests? Do we have someone else?
Yes. Let's bring Martin Lenz because we are talking about job boards. So let's keep the theme about the job
Okay.
board.
Oh mein Gott, ich muss jetzt Deutsch sprechen. that was German. I expect now the chat to explode in German, being happy about hearing their own language.
Thanks for having me. How are you?
Great to have you,
Great.
Martin. Thank you for joining us.
Hi from Vienna in Austria.
Very nice hoodie. I don't have one of these. Where's my delivery?
They're brand new. We're gonna have more of them. They're very comfortable, and we promoted them to our Christmas parties. So next time you need to join our Christmas party.
Yeah, the live feed from the Jobiqo Christmas party. That's a great conference idea.
Exactly.
Right. For the two people that don't know who you are, give us like the 1 minute elevator pitch of Martin from Vienna and Jobiqo.
Absolutely. Yeah. So my name is Martin Lenz. I'm the CEO of Jobiqo. I'm with Jobiqo now for 9 years. I'm in the IT space for more than 20 years already. I used to be a developer back then, went to management consulting and moved more to the business side. So I joined Jobiqo 9 years ago, and we grew it to an international tech leader in job board software. So we launched and serviced more than 400 job boards since incorporation, and that's already 15 years. that we are in business. We basically call our solution a complete job board software solution because we have two main products. We have a programmatic advertising engine that basically helps job boards to drive traffic, drive conversions, and compete with the big ones. We have our core product, which is a very flexible job board software, which we are proud of, is also very good in certain aspects of SEO, but also in terms of monetization options. And we also have a search and match product. Some of our customers use it just via an API. So we do a high volume search and match as well for certain bigger platforms. That's probably a product that not everybody is aware of, but because of where the market is going, we believe that this complete perspective of how you run a job board is becoming more and more important because it gets to an end-to-end solution.
And you're the only platform on the market that does it, which is amazing. So I'm a huge fan of Jobiqo, and I can't wait to launch my job boards on Jobiqo early next year.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Absolutely.
All right.
Wonderful.
What do you have for us?
Yeah, so I actually had 3.5 predictions. So I'm not sure if I get enough time to go through all of them. So I try to be quick. But one of the things, and you said that's predictions for 2026. So it's not like the future for like forever, but it's 2026. And the overall concept that we're looking at the moment now is that job boards will refocus again more about the outcomes that they actually deliver. So there is a concept, it's called the marketing myopia. We are talking about that in our new report. It's called Chatbot Revolution, which is coming out end of the year. So you can sign up for that. And it basically says that businesses tend after a while to focus too much on the products that they're selling. And instead of like understanding the outcomes that they are solving for the customer. And in the case of the job board, the product is usually a job ad, right? So it's a simple job ad. But the hiring outcome is you want to find the right people for the employer, and you want to help candidates to find the right company and the right job. So you need to understand again how you can solve this outcome, and the business model will follow. The good news for job boards is the platforms per se will stay because we just listened to Rado, and SEO keeps being a very important factor for job boards. And you can only run good SEO if you have a strong platform. So having a platform with the users on is good. But the first prediction that I would like to make is that I think that I call it performance monetization will become the new standard for job boards in 2026. So what does performance monetization mean? It means that you're not paid just by the job posting, and you're also not paid just by the click that you generate. You're really paid by the hiring outcome, and that could be a qualified candidate or a qualified lead or a qualified interview, for example. Maybe it even goes to higher, but we basically believe it's more and more important that you provide good quality candidates, and the job boards may build their business models around providing these quality candidates. That's especially at the moment when there's a change in the market. So the economy is not doing well. There's less job postings out there. There's more people searching. So there's a natural bigger volume of people searching for jobs. That means that quality becomes a bigger measure for success, because you don't want to create more effort for employers to filter out all these candidates that are not relevant. And I think that job boards can do a better filtering, a better matching when it comes to that. So that's basically my first prediction, that this will be the new standard. My second prediction is to get there, you need to rethink your channel mix as a job board. And I would call it that a multi-channel and social media automation will become more important for job boards in 2026. And we will see more and more sites going into social media to drive traffic and performance to their job boards. That has two reasons. One reason is that there is a new generation taking a growing part of the market, the so-called Gen Z, that has a total different user behavior and a user expectation, right? So they are very mobile focused. They are mostly on social media, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, you name it, but they're also on Google, interestingly. So it's a question about how you attract this generation of users. So at Jobiqo, we created a so-called social media automation using AI, where you can very simply create social media ads out of a job ad. So it's not a burden anymore to go into social, and we help you to get the right candidates to your site, and you can also build new products around it, for example. The second reason for that shift to social media is that because there's so many people actively searching and the quality is maybe not enough, you may still need to access a bigger audience, and that's the so-called passive audience. So you need to get people into the job board, even that they're currently not actively searching. And if you go to job aggregators, if you go to Google, for example, you're basically getting active searching people, which convert really well to your job ads, but you will need more of this passive audience in the future. And in combination, what I said in the beginning, that you drive more of the quality at the end of the funnel, like this end-to-end funnel perspective of a job board, you will create a much bigger value for your customers. So that's my second prediction. And we are really happy to see that with our product Jobiqo Air, which is automated intelligent reach, a growing part of the budget that we spend is going into social media. So that's definitely not just like a thing on paper, it's really happening. The third prediction, and I said I have 3.5 predictions. The third prediction that I have is that I believe there will be more solutions around skill-based matching and skill-based search. That means that more and more people may not know in the beginning what job titles they're looking for, and you may have more solutions that offer you the help to recommend jobs based on your skills, or to help you explore your skills and find the right jobs based on your skills. One of the sectors that is interestingly very much looking into that is defense, because there is a lot of job titles and roles that don't exist yet that much in the market. So they want to actually attract passive job seekers, want to know their skills, and want to attract them to certain new roles. This is also where the AI comes in a lot. It helps you to extract the right skills from the demand side, but also helps you to identify the right skills on the supply side from the candidates. And that leads me to my and a half prediction or comment. I personally don't think that AI will disrupt this. So everything, basically what I said is including AI to up to some point. And I get a lot of questions like, will AI completely disrupt the chatbot space? And our approach to this is that we think that it will just expose the legacy platforms, because now everybody gets access to and we will talk about AI later in this session even more, but everyone now has access to the best models. Like whatever you did until 2023 doesn't matter, because you have access to the best AI models, and the price is falling. It's very easy to integrate. There's a big competition about that. So the differentiator is not having a better model, it's how easy you can integrate these models. If you have closed data, so if you have a platform running for 10 years, you're probably in a better place than if you just start from scratch. When you have a good brand and if you have a network, you will definitely be on the winner's side, because you can leverage what you get with the AI. So that's my 3.5 predictions for 2026. Happy to get your critical questions about that, Alex Oros.
Alex, go
Wow,
ahead.
wow. I totally agree. I absolutely see the logic. It was a very well articulated prediction that you did predictions. The only question is, do you then expect that the job boards will host the applications and process them internally, or are they going to turn to ATS integrations? Because as we know, this is a very painful process right now.
So your question was if the job boards are hosting the applications?
Yeah, and then processing them internally, and then
Okay.
yeah.
So I think it's a very good question. So if you look at the phases of at the stages that a job board is delivering on a recruiting funnel, I think naturally it ends at the point of application. So I don't think that job boards will, at least not in 2026, will become the replacement of an ATS. I think the ATS market is way too mature. We all know the weaknesses of the ATS market, but usually a customer will have an ATS in place and they want the convenience. So you're talking to recruiters, they don't know how to get you the API key. We are building on middleware solutions like Combo that they are in the market. So ATS integration is given in the future, so it will be critical, but it's not that easy as it seems. So We also investigate AI solutions on that. So the better you can actually track the performance that you generate. So this integration to the customer and that you can track that you get that the application was coming from you, the better. But we are also talking in our Chatbot Revolution report about that up to some point it will become the responsibility of the chatbot not just to drive volume, but to be clear about the quality that you deliver. And we believe there are measures and features to do that. So that's basically the answer. So I don't think that it will change the way you host it, but there will be a bigger sophistication about how you ensure that you don't just send bots to your customer. So, and
Thank you.
actually the CTA, the call to action down there, Chatbot Revolution report, you can sign up to get an early preview that we will launch in the next couple of days, and it will be published in 2026. Other
The report.
questions? Where do you disagree?
Horace, what do you think?
I think in terms of the investment for AI, now I completely agree with you. It's the best way right now to use AI. It's kind of has to be hidden, improving the workflow without knowing that there's an AI. This is just like improve the performance. Honestly, I think there are so many ways job boards can do that, like optimizing the jobs, optimizing the category page, optimizing the email alerts. There are so many things that AI can be quite useful without being on the face of the job seeker. I think the challenge for the social media, now I agree with you that this is probably really good channel to start with because of the aggregation right now, like the same candidate will be redirected from 3 to 4 job boards and it's kind of the same pool. And you're helping job boards to expand that pool to get something quite unique. So I'm sure probably the conversion rate will be a bit better. And my question is, how do you ensure that the social media integration or that channel would be utilized in an attractive way to the job seeker?
Yes. So one of the features that we're rolling out is called Social Apply, which actually gives job boards the ability to integrate the data captured from native social media lead forms into the job board. So you get the user into the job board experience and you re-engage the user on a later stage or like immediately, however you want, but you don't disrupt the user experience. So people like to stay on the platform that they are. And you know, it's very easy to attract people via and engage people via social media. But imagine you are on the bus and you're scrolling your feed and then you see an interesting job ad, you probably will not start an application. So you need to offer ways to interact, to leave your trace, and depending of the market, it's different, right? So in Germany, people will probably not leave their telephone number, but in the US they will. So you have different re-engagement strategies per market, but you need to make the experience more convenient. And we are currently now looking at native integrations of lead forms, for example, and we expect a much better conversion rate.
Brilliant. That's
Thank you,
actually
Martin.
much better than what I expected.
Awesome. Great. Thank you, Martin. Thank you very much. Amazing stuff. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for joining, Martin. Alex, your turn. Who would
Oh my
you
God,
like to?
who's next? Well, we talked about activating different channels for recruiting and recruitment marketing. I think it's a great timeline to invite Corey, right? Corey from Recruitix. Is he online? Can we get him on stage? Corey Kapna. Yeah, well, he joins. Fun story. Corey reached out to me on LinkedIn years ago when we first met. And I thought that I would never want to talk to this guy. And we turned out to be very good friends afterwards. That's a fun story, which people probably don't care about. Hey, Corey, how are you? You're on mute.
It's just his charming is speaking right now.
Yeah.
There we go. So thank you for having me. Here in the Middle East, visiting family and friends, and I'm typically based in Amsterdam, so I am hiding away from the cloudy rain, and really excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining. You're also not that easy to listen to online. Like you don't do a lot of events or conferences, so we're very thankful that you joined our little event. I'm very excited to hear what you have for our audience.
Anything for a good friend, Alex. Anything for a good friend. So just a quick background. I came out of university, out of college, ran a full desk of recruitment, joined Indeed in the very beginning. And then I've been with Recruitix since inception. So I've been here 13 years, held a lot of different roles, lived a lot of different places, and I focus on sales and partnerships. And Martin really stole a lot of the thunder around the predictions in programmatic recruitment. My predictions are about the how, and it's a bit more tactful. So one click applies my first prediction. And Recruitix has already launched a handful of products. He is spot on, Martin, around social media and the job aggregators and one click apply native inside of those environments. But for direct employers, which the majority of companies we work with are big FTSE 1000, big bureaucratic layered organizations, they expect these applications to go straight into the applicant tracking system. There's a difference between HCMs or human capital management systems, CRMs and ATSs. And what our clients want to see is a higher quality candidate, a little bit lower volume because of all the bot traffic, but it's one click applies to really optimize the conversion rate. Media spend has been going down year after year after year. And that's why you see a lot of the vendors kind of tighten up their budgets. And for us, we want to make sure that we are driving the high quality applicant where they're at, and meeting people where they're at is exactly what Martin was talking about. Social media and major destinations, whether it be a job aggregator, job board, job site, hiring platform. A lot of the programmatic players are working with the vendors, the job boards, the job sites to make sure that it's a seamless process. So we've launched a handful of products that not only goes into the HCM system, but then goes into my second recommendation or prediction. It's optimizing based on quality of applicant. And instead of just focused on programmatic advertising, it's really programmatic hiring. And so if one vendor gives you 10,000 applicants and you only hire 3, whereas one other vendor gives you 50 applicants and you hire 40, we're going to want to invest money into the better quality source. And so getting ATS feedback or HCM feedback using webhooks or unique IDs like candidate IDs or email addresses and having that information pulled gives a programmatic provider the ability to optimize across the channels. And the networks that we work with, programmatic providers should be treating them like customers. And as we diversify the media spend, because one corporation never, I use never intentionally, never wants to be reliant on one source, it's important to give everyone a fair shot. And based on quality, the best source should win. A little bit of a macro prediction in my last one is that there's going to be a lot of consolidation in 2026. There are programmatic providers out there that only offer programmatic advertising. And with budgets going down and vendors changing commission structures for those standalone programmatic advertising platforms that are a little bit more transactional, they are seeing a big decrease in revenue. And automation is not really helping because some of the vendors are not as sophisticated as others with their backends and data collection and spend collection. So they need to evolve and offer new services, new products, new solutions. And companies that also have recruitment marketing agencies adjacent to the programmatic platform have pivoted to not really focus on agency life anymore. It's more, what can we do as a platform, as a SaaS solution? And it looks better for the customer, it looks better for the vendors and the programmatic providers that used to skim off the top or really just operate based on the media commissions that some of the job aggregators and job boards will provide. That's all changing as things tighten up. So you're going to see a lot of acquisitions. You're going to see a lot of people disappear from the market. And you're going to see some acquisitions that have already occurred. Those companies will no longer exist.
Wow.
That is a lot to process.
I need like a day off to think about it, and write it on a whiteboard. Just think about it. Wow. Thank you, Corey. Amazing. Amazing.
Thank you, Corey. I think I have a question here. When we talk about the hiring quality, do you think this would be based on human evaluation from the other side of receiving the application? Or do you think there could be some AI automation in the middle to assess the quality?
It depends on hype versus adoption. And, to us, we are preparing for both. And what I mean by that is there's a bet that's going on within the industry. AI capabilities, is that going to exist inside of the current ecosystem, right? Where you have Workday and UKG and all these legacy HCM systems creating marketplaces and where customers can just turn on the AI capabilities to help source and screen, qualify, so on and so forth? Or will the bet be outside of the HCM or ATS system, where it's going to be a third-party platform that the recruiter, the talent acquisition team will bring in and integrate. There are vendors out there domestically in the US, globally around the EU, and even in the APAC regions that are taking wildly different approaches. And so the jury's still out as long as the technology is audited. And so there are cool companies like FairNow and Warden, and some believe in it, some don't believe in it. So the jury's still out there. We'll see what the leaders at these corporates will really preach at every conference, because that's typically how you create a category. Programmatic job advertising wasn't created out of fluff. There was a real need. CRMs, candidate relationship management systems, those systems create a whole new category that required a career site, required a better candidate experience, because nobody wants to go 50 minutes through the application process. I think the jury's still out for us, given some of Alex's posts around the hype of AI. I'm led to believe it's going to take a lot longer than we all think.
One last question, Corey. If I operate a job board, right, how do I position myself best for this brave new world of quality that you are describing? Because, like, hands down, job boards up until now were not really interested into that, right? It was about driving clicks. And now we have to think about quality. So how do we do that?
Well, from an attraction standpoint, I think where the traffic comes from is changing. So there are solutions and there are theories that you can optimize on the Gen AI platforms. So if you can get yourself indexed and attract people that way, I think it's brand new and a unique selling proposition. Working with programmatic providers for the one-click applies, native applies, and making sure that you can send over the spend metrics in a timely manner. Transparency is king, and corporates really want to see the vendors measured against one another. So making sure that your technology and your analytics are up to par. And then maybe controversial, but the 4 clicks to one application and the arbitrage is really hurting the job board brand. And so when job boards spend money across different sources and traffic sources, they're not really retaining a loyal candidate. It's a quick transaction and there's no candidate loyalty. So I would say really cleaning up the application process and cleaning up the delivery would behoove all parties involved.
Thank you. Now we can go back to the pool, have a cocktail, alcohol-free one. It's probably 40 degrees on your end anyway, right?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Corey. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining.
And as we talked about, like, using AI or human in order to evaluate, I think it's the best time now to invite Martin to talk about the regulations and compliance in AI, because it's really easy to think AI is like a prompt that you send to talk about the application or the applicant, and like asking ChatGPT, is that person qualified? So Martin, tell us everything you know and your predictions about, can I use a prompt engineering and ChatGPT to evaluate candidates?
Well, first of all, good afternoon, gentlemen. I don't speak German, so I apologize in advance. Thank you so much for having me today. Right. Can you? No, you can't. Let's just draw a line under that. That's kind of like 2025 done. You can't be using ChatGPT to screen CVs and resumes. But wow, what is going on in the world of regulation? Suffice to say, it's almost on par with the world of state-of-the-art models, where every week there's something new coming out. Every week there's a different opinion about what people should be doing and what people shouldn't be doing. But for this session, I did try and think about what might happen next year, because obviously this is all about predictions. I'm not a big fan of predictions because people then hold them against you. But what is going to be happening next year in the world of AI and recruitment when it comes to governance, risk, compliance, regulation? So my first prediction, I think that we're going to be looking at kind of that high risk AI regulation really getting real next year. You know, we're seeing conversations going on in the EU about will they, won't they bring into force the high risk elements of the EU AI Act next year. The first plenary session is happening next week or this week or next week, I can't remember, in the EU to start discussing that. You know, they brought out the digital omnibus last week. 2 weeks ago to talk about delaying parts of the EU AI Act. There is nothing guaranteed yet. So as it stands right now, the high risk part of the EU AI Act is still due to go live August the 2nd next year, which means we've got 9 months to get ready for it. And knowing what the EU is like when it comes to pushing forward with regulation and legislation, we're going to find out very last minute whether or not it's going ahead. So, now's the time to start getting your ducks in order. It's inevitable. Whether it happens next year or the year after, it's inevitable. High risk obligations are going to be rolling in. We're seeing the UK starting to shift next year from guidance to firmer regulation. And we've got this kind of patchwork of state laws in the US, Colorado, California, Illinois, New York, and more. So ultimately, whether or not the federal government gets involved, and we saw recently a draft executive order where the federal government says, no, we're going to ban state-based AI regulation, whether that goes through or not, they're saying it might not now. Ultimately, in the US, it's definitely becoming a national compliance baseline for employers because it's happening in more and more states. And actually, what we're seeing now across the world is very much a standardization of regulation, very much based on the UAI Act, very much based around transparency, bias auditing, good documentation, good explainability, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of my second prediction moving into there, is that for me, bias audits and impact assessments are going to become mandatory in 2026, whether that's from a legislation perspective or whether that's just from how we build trust with our users perspective. So annual, monthly, quarterly, or even Corey mentioned some of the businesses that can do that continuously by automation like Warden, but bias auditing will become standard, especially across regulated jurisdictions across the world. So every AI hiring tool is going to absolutely require provable testing for a disparate impact with documented remediations, documented audit summaries, and also model risk assessments. And that should be treated now as routine operational artifacts. And that kind of takes me into my third prediction. I tried to keep this to 5 because I knew we were tight on time, so I'm not going to waffle on for ages. But my third prediction is that transparency and human oversight are going to become non-negotiable. We're in an interesting place in the recruitment industry where there's been a breakdown of trust. Ultimately, candidates don't trust recruiters don't trust candidates. Candidates think that their CVs and the resumes are immediately dropping into the AI bots. Recruiters think that every single candidate is now cheating by using AI, but it starts with transparency to try and rebuild that trust. Candidates have to be told when AI is assessing them, and organizations have to prove that humans, not algorithms, are making those final decisions, or at least meaningfully reviewing those final decisions as well. So I think that if we can start putting that front and center on our career pages to tell candidates exactly what's happening in the background, that's going to be a huge move towards rebuilding trust within the industry. And for me, it's going to become a universal requirement. We think about GDPR, we think about the EU AI Act, we think about US state laws, enforcement expectations going on in the rest of the world. It's a basic universal requirement that we're going to see happening more and more across the world. Now, fourth prediction, people data governance. It's going to really tighten dramatically. One of the things that we can take away from the digital omnibus that came out from the EU a couple of weeks ago, and the new GDPR clarifications around that as well, is definitely going to be a reshaping of what's allowed in people analytics, training data, biometrics, data protection impact assessments, retention, all those kind of things. So HR and TA teams and recruitment teams, they've got to manage AI systems with privacy by design. So tighter data controls, aligned data processing, impact assessments, and clearer lawful basis than ever before. It's all about consent, and it needs to be clear. One of the things that I know, Alex, that you and I talk about quite a lot is the fact that in this kind of new AI-driven craze that we see in the industry, people seem to be forgetting about their basic responsibilities under things like GDPR. So we need to go back and we need to tighten that people data governance dramatically. And I'm definitely going to see that happening in 2026 more. Now, my final one for today is about vendor accountability, the kind of surge of enforcement pressure that's going on. I think what we're seeing now is an understanding that that employers, TA teams, they can no longer rely on vendor promises. A lot of the legislation now puts into focus the employers and the vendors being co-accountable, being both accountable. And actually in Europe, what people don't understand is you can stack liability. So somebody can be fined under both EU AI Act and GDPR. So it's ever more important that vendors are held to account by the users, by the TA teams, by the HR teams. So by the end of 2026, I expect to see HR tech vendors being told they have to provide audit evidence, documentation, data lineage, clarity, risk controls, and not just saying it just works, and people accepting that. And I think that regulators and the courts are definitely going to be taking real action against misuse. Already seen that in the US with Mobley versus Workday and SiriusXM court cases. And I think the same is going to happen over here pretty soon in 2026. So making AI governance a contractual, operational, and legal priority when you're buying TA tech, my top one. And I think these are all of my predictions.
Wow. Thank you, Martin. Amazing.
Thanks,
Amazing. Wow. This is worth like at least like a 10K workshop, just 10 minutes.
I think something that somebody said to me on LinkedIn earlier is that, it's really going to start sifting out, the responsible vendors from the chancers in our industry. And we get a lot of chancers coming into our industry and building tools because they think they can fix everything in recruitment. And it's going to really separate those people out, putting that pressure on the vendors. I'm excited to see what happens. There's not many people around that get excited about legislation, but that's what gets me going.
With so much vibe coding in HR recruiting right now, do you think that next year we'll see the first court case against a vendor?
Oh my goodness. Well, you make such a good point. And actually, I'm going to pick you up on that last word, vendor. One of the challenges that I think that we haven't quite got our heads around yet, and I'm pointing it out more and more, is recruiters who are vibe coding. So I'm not even concerned about vendors vibe coding because they should just be doing, there's no reason why, developer teams within vendor organizations shouldn't be using AI to help them be more efficient. But it's the recruiters who are vibe coding because they can't be bothered to wait for procurement. They can't be bothered to wait for IT. They can't be bothered to wait for their vendors. And if a recruiter starts vibe coding under the EU AI Act, they then become providers, not just deployers, but providers. And that gives you a significant more governance responsibility, model 4 documentation, again, bias auditing, all those kind of things that we expect our vendors to do, you'll have to do as well. And not only that, but just, again, GDPR, all those kind of things just come into it with vibe coding. It can create an absolute mess. But yeah, it's one of the massive concerns that I have right now is the plethora of AI experts that are encouraging recruiters to vibe code. Yeah.
That's brilliant. And I think final question from my side, because I totally agree, regulations will be really important to separate, especially what we talk about. Sometimes we say the Twitter tech pros, they post something, yay, AI is here, fire everyone, something created in a weekend. Now, obviously, no one would like to use these services. But from the other side, how about companies and recruiters who are bombarded by hundreds, if not thousands of applications because of the AI automation? How would the regulation protect them to be efficient in their job?
Well, I mean, this is a whole nother webinar talking about, the influx of applications. If I'm honest with you, the simple answer is to just stop asking for CVs and text-based applications. It's the simple answer. It's not going to happen, not in 2026 or 2030 even. The regulations are there for a specific reason. And ultimately, you can chuck AI at it, but it has to be the right AI, has to be built correctly, tested correctly, implemented ethically, and with a human in the loop, and also human auditing everything from successful candidates through to unsuccessful candidates as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Martin. Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin.
Well, those are our final guests. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you like the format. Let us know in the comments what you think about it. Have an amazing Christmas.
That was an amazing 1 hour full of information. I think I'll have to watch it again just to like process all the information and the predictions that we had. It was like absolutely brilliant. And we are so grateful for everyone who joined us and shared their insights, and for the audience as well. We really appreciate you.
Thank you for joining our webinars. Like 1,000 people already this year, like unique people join our webinars. Thank you very much. It means a lot to us.
Thank you. 1,000 people from more than 36 countries and from global companies. We really appreciate your support and listening to us and sharing your questions and feedback. And we are really thankful. And we have created like a LinkedIn page where we are going to start posting shorts and like insights from the webinars that we have done and for the ones that we are going to do next year. So please, if you like it, just click on the link under the screen and follow our LinkedIn page. Thank you so much and have a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
And see you next year. Because we're continuing.
Yeah. See you next year.
See you next year. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.